Hello, welcome to this video on compound time or compound meter. At this point, if you've not watched the video on meter covering simple meter or simple time, as well as the videos on note durations and rest durations, I encourage you to click on those videos and watch them now before we begin. So, compound time or compound meter is where we group the eighth notes in groups of 3. What this does is it gives the strong beats every third eighth note. So if we were to compare that with simple time or meters such as 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, you can see that we have the eighth notes grouped in twos. Now if we were to mark in the strong beats, it means that the emphasis or strong beats come every 2 eighth notes. Compound meters such as 3/8, 6/8, 9/8, or 12/8, the eighth notes are grouped in threes, meaning the strong beats come every third eighth note. Let's listen to what simple meter would sound like. Okay, now let's listen to a compound meter. You can clearly hear in the second instance that the emphasis comes every third eighth note, whereas in the first example it came every second eighth note. If we were to compare 3/4 time with 6/8 time, we would notice that 3/4 notes equal 6/8 notes. So we have the same amount of note values in each bar. The difference comes in how we perform these. In 3/4, we group them in twos and put the emphasis on every second note. In 6/8, we put them in threes, putting the emphasis on every third note. Okay, so let's look at some examples of completing the compound bar. So, in the meter of 3/8, 3/8 means that there are 3 eighth notes in each complete bar, or the equivalent of 3 eighth notes in each bar. That can take any form, such as a quarter note and an eighth note, which equals 3 eighth notes. It's important to note that in compound meters, the eighth notes are getting the beat now. In simple meters such as 3/4, quarter notes would get the beat. So if I'm referring to a beat now, I'm referring to an eighth note, which is worth half a quarter note. So if we need 3 eighth note beats in each bar, and we have to complete the last bar, we can see that we only have 1 eighth note beat, which means that we are too short of a complete bar. So if we need 1 note value, which will complete that bar, we would have to use a quarter note, because a quarter note is worth 2 eighth notes, which would complete our bar. So now we have 3 eighth note beats in that bar. Okay, so let's look at 6/8. In 6/8 time we have 6 eighth notes per bar. 6 eighth note beats per bar. Now, the strong beats are going to come every 3 eighth notes, so we can mark those in. If we can have any combination as long as it adds up to 6 eighth notes beats per bar. So in that second bar we have right now 5 eighth note beats written in, or the equivalent of, so that leaves us 1 short. So if we put in an eighth note, that will complete the bar, because now we have the equivalent of 6 eighth note beats in that bar. So 9/8 would mean that there are 9 eighth note beats in a bar. Again, it's still important that the emphasis is coming in every 3 eighth notes. Now in that first bar you can see that third eighth note there, that is actually on a rest. So the emphasis would be a silence on that bar, on that one beat anyways. So now if we're going to complete that bar, we need 9 eighth note beats, and right now we are counting 6. So that leaves us 3 eighth note beats, which means it would be a dotted quarter note to complete that bar. So we just use that 1 note. Now, if you were asked to use rest to complete that bar, you would not use a dotted quarter rest. Composers typically avoid dotted rests. So if you were asked to complete that bar with rests, you would use 2 rests, not the dotted quarter rest. You'd use a quarter rest and an eighth rest in combination to complete that bar. Alright, so 12/8, following the pattern, would mean that there are 12 eighth note beats in each complete bar. So we can go through and mark in the strong beats every third eighth note, And if we're going to complete that bar, we need to count up how many beats we have. So right now we are, so that would be 9, 10. So we were 10 eighth note beats. So we're missing 2, which means a quarter note would complete that bar. All right, so that is compound meter, and that concludes today's video.